please, this one.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for tonight's meeting of the Fall River Historical Commission. It is Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. The time is now 6 p.m. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Make it a roll call, please.
Ashley DeCunha here.
Connie Soul here.
Elizabeth DeBlock.
Rick Mancini here.
Joyce Roderick's present.
And Jason Bouchard-Naraki present. We are missing Jonathan Lima. He is not here today, and we have no open seats. Okay, so the first item on the agenda, item number 1, is to review and approve the minutes from January 24th, 2024. Elizabeth had sent those around. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 24th meetings minutes.
I'll second that motion.
All right. I have a motion by Rick and a second by Connie for the minutes of January 24th, 2024. Roll call vote. Ashley?
Aye.
Connie?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
And Jason Bouchard-Naraki, yes. All right, thank you. Item number 2 is to review and approve the minutes from February 20th, 2024. Elizabeth was not at our last meeting, but John took over and recorded the minutes. He sent those around as well. Any questions on them?
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Ashley, thank you.
I'll second that.
And
Okay.
Elizabeth? Okay.
Good. No,
All right,
fine.
motion by Ashley and a second by Elizabeth to approve the minutes from February 20th. Roll call, Ashley?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
And Jason Bouchard-Naraki, yes. Thank you, everyone. Do we have any citizens' input for the items? No.
Nope.
All right. Item number 3, I did receive a notice of intent to demolish the address 21 August Street. I did inform Carrie Ayash that the property is not listed on the Register of Significant Structures. So that's that. I also, for item number 4 under correspondences, I did receive an inquiry regarding design restrictions or any limitations on the properties located at 410, 423, and 887 Highland Avenue. Incidentally, these are owned by the Catholic Diocese, but I did tell Carrie that 410 and 423, actually all three of them are listed in the Highlands National Register District, so the only limitation would be a six-month demolition delay if that was an option. But I also did indicate that 410 and 423 are within the target area for the 40C expansion. Those letters have not yet gone out, but we'll talk about that later on. So that was basically it for those 3 properties for item 4. Any questions so far? No. Okay. Item 5 under new business, we have a nomination for a property for the inclusion on the Fall River Register of Significant Structures. This is 1680 Pleasant Street, the Night Owl Diner, and we have Tony Dias here to present. Good evening.
We're all set.
We have, yes, thank you. And if you can please state your name and address and, yes.
Name is Anton Dias. I reside at 492 June Street. And I am here on behalf of the property owner of the Night Owl, Mr. Joseph Nazarah. Hope I pronounce his name correctly. He requested that I help him to get the property listed on the Fall River Register for a couple of reasons. One, he's looking to renovate the Night Owl. And I had indicated to him that it's historical, and then I go to the register and find out that it's not on the list. So the first step is we're looking to get on that list to eventually go for the National Register.
Okay.
Part of the research onto the Night Owl is that it was built 3 years after the Almack's Diner. by the same exact company. I've contacted the expert on these types of diners, and he says that it's quite unique. It has a basement. I created a 3D video of what the potential renovation would be. But again, his main goal, one, would be to sell the entire property. The entire property is the diner itself, the entire parking lot behind it, which includes, there's a Hertz business and a donut shop.
Okay.
That's all part of the property. Those two businesses currently have leases. I believe Hertz has a 5-year lease and the donut shop 2 or 3 years. He would like to sell the whole thing if he could. He's at a later age. If he can't find a buyer, then his next option would be to lease out the Night Owl, and he would renovate it to whatever use it would be. He just needs to have that person come in. As part of the renovation, there was 1 bathroom in the basement that's really just for the staff, but we would need to put an addition to the building. So part of doing the 3-dimensional rendering would be what that would look like.
Okay.
So we took inspiration of the original Night Owl, which was just on the flatbed of a truck, and it looked like a wagon, to tell you the truth. So that's why it has that curved roof and is put to the side of it. So that'll happen if they have a leasee.
Okay.
I think that's all I have, and I think on the paperwork that I presented to you, we feel that it should be historical, and that it definitely falls within Category A and Category C of the National Register. And if we do get listed on it, I would hope to get a letter from you so that we can include it with our letter to the state
Of course.
to get that.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Dias? I was very surprised that it was not already listed on the city's register, let alone the national register for that matter. So there's the whole area in the Flint Village has a great deal of potential. I've been mentioning it over and over again that commercial corridor is nothing surveyed, at least on the national register. So there's opportunity there to have the whole area included as part of a National Register district, which would allow property owners to have access to historic tax credits and even CPC funding for that matter, depending. This is the first step, and I mean, it's such a significant. It's small, but it's very significant. It has
Yes.
a great amount of appeal. I don't want to say appeal, but presence on that in that area.
And today I was just thinking that Eastern Avenue itself, that particular section, was on the listing because Olmsted.
Right.
So that's designed by Olmsted in there. I just lost my train of thought on the other one. Oh, the reason it wasn't on the list is that when we started the Fall River Register, we took all of the properties that were either inventory or on the National Register. So this property was never inventoried, so it's not there. So I'm sure there's tons of other properties in the city.
I've seen that before, where the whole neighborhood around, we had to review a property on Hanover Street that was being marked for demolition, and the whole residential neighborhood around it was surveyed in 1981, but nothing was actually included. And the Mass Historical Commission don't have those inventory forms, but the Historical Society does, which is, it's a little interesting how that happened. But so there must have been some sort of opposition, I would imagine, probably from, if it was 81, from the hospital expansion that prevented a lot of those neighborhoods from being listed or at least considered for National Register. So that could have been something around in the 80s, but no, I agree with with criteria A and C for the National Register. Would you be the one who would be helping with the National Register process itself?
Yeah, I told I'd be doing all this pro
Okay.
bono. to get it on this list and to get it on the National Register, so.
Okay. I did have one other question. And with the transition with the city website, the city has a new website. Some of our forms that we had prior never made it onto the new city's website. We're working on updating some of the forms, but we have a nomination form, so like a Form B. You're very familiar with what we had before. So I would you want to fill that out, or just we have a record of that, or is this should be sufficient?
I can send that to you after the meeting.
Okay. And
That's
then,
not a problem.
all right, and I think that's all I have.
I had one random question. Are they renovating before they sell it? Is that the intention?
So, so they prefer to sell it first, and then
Gotcha.
have the new buyer decide what to do with
Gotcha,
it.
okay.
If they can't find a seller, they're looking for a leasee, and if it's a sushi place, they'll renovate it to accommodate that, whatever it is.
Got ya.
So, yeah, I don't believe they're gonna do anything until they have either a leasee or someone buys it, and then that person decides what to do with it. But in our conversations, he felt that it was important to make sure we preserve the structure.
Right.
And that's why,
Yes.
first step here,
Right.
next step,
Absolutely.
Great.
the state.
This is great.
Yep.
So
Well,
I'll make a motion
Good.
to
Just
approve
have
the
a
nomination.
thought.
Oh, sorry.
I just wondered what went into the thinking of the design. It's very modernistic, and when I first looked at it, I didn't think of it as the rough and tumble kind of diner that draws people to diners. So what kind of comparison did you make?
So the interior of it and the exterior, we're going to keep it in the original state. You know, if there's things that are damaged, we're just going to basically put it as is. The only thing really that's going to change on the inside is the kitchen area. So whatever equipment that they would need, but all of the stainless steel with the, I think, the fan or whatever it is, that's all going to go back. So the stove itself might be in a different location. With the kitchen fume hoods, they're now much bigger, so we will have to make adjustments for that, but you won't notice anything from the street. And the addition on the side, which is in the parking lot, it's really no more than 8 feet by 8 feet, which is one bathroom for everyone, under 20, 25 occupants. So right now, in the perimeter, in the dining area, there's a 15-inch counter that goes all the way around, and there's 19 stools. I think over time, there was a center counter that's been removed. So depending on who leases it, then either they'll put that historical piece back, or they'll decide that they want booths or whatever it is. But it's not a big space. I can't imagine more than 20 people ever being in there. But on the exterior, the only thing that will be different, the main entrance, we will upgrade the concrete steps, they're damaged. So on one side, that'll go back. On the other side, we'll take the steps out and put a handicap ramp that will turn to the back, and there'll be a dedicated handicap spot right there. Right now, Hertz has been using all of the diner parking spaces because it's been closed for a number of years, and the businesses across the street. But whoever goes in there, then they're definitely going to mark out, hey, these are diner spaces, and these are spaces for the donut shop and Hertz. But yeah, so the goal is for you from the exterior not to see much change. I'm sure there's going to need to be a restoration of the owl itself and put the lights. At the entrance, there's the diner arrow that's missing. We'll try to get that back. And yeah, you're not going to notice much difference.
And all the work would be in conjunction with the secretary to the interior standards. And,
Yeah, I wouldn't be involved if it was, like, yeah, no, we'll
Yeah.
definitely follow all that.
Perfect, excellent.
Could I just make a comment too? So if the owner's concerned about preserving the building, the National Register designation or the City Register designation, it just provides a demolition delay of 6 months, but has he thought about also maybe a preservation easement, something written into the deed that would like preserve certain characteristics of the building?
We discussed all about being on the list, so being on the list will just give a 6-month demolition delay.
Mhm.
Then I explained to them there are CPA funds potentially out there, which if he was approved for any of that, then they would be a 30-year demolition delay.
Yeah.
We've talked about if there's a new buyer, because we want to preserve this building, you know, he would be interested in what's going to happen to the building.
Yeah.
Yes, you could relocate it and put it someplace else. That's not a problem, but we would have to recreate the basement part that,
Right.
that folks don't see right now. It would be my preference if they had to develop it that, if anything, you would move it and connect it to the current donut shop that's there.
Yeah.
Make it a much larger seating area, but yeah, we've looked at all of the potential demolition delays, and he understood that,
Okay.
yeah.
Alright.
You were going to say something about CBC?
No, I was.
Okay.
Is the basement like a full-size basement, like you can stand up in it? It's not like just a,
I think it's a little wider than the actual
Ah.
building,
Okay.
so, and I have pictures. So there's all of these steel beams coming across, so they took the diner and they dropped it on
the beam?
the steel beams, and it's 12 foot from the diner down to the basement, and there's like a ship's ladder going down, there's a bathroom down there, and then there's the stairs in the front for them to bring in supplies and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty good size. I would say all of the electrical and plumbing would have to be redone, repainted, but yeah, it's a perfect place to store and have a little office down there. And, yeah.
Great.
If you, I try to put the video online, if you go there, you'll see the whole basement.
That's so cool.
So, yeah. Some people actually said that they've been in there, so I think it's pretty
That's really
interesting.
cool.
I never knew there was a basement.
Yeah.
And just to add on, with the CPC restriction, depending on how it's written, could also be any modifications to the exterior. So not only demolition, extension, but also modifications. Once that occurs, then the CPC funding would have to be returned, and you'd have to break that contract with the Mass Historic or National Park Service if they got historic funding from them. So
Yeah, and-
it really preserves the property once you get the preservation restriction put in place.
And I'd say for this building, the biggest concern would be the mechanical systems. You know, we wouldn't want to do what the Historical Society has done and put these ugly mechanical units in front of their building. So we definitely won't be doing that. Sorry, I had to throw that out there.
There's probably a reason.
Yeah, just an aside, Tony, when I was in the mid-40s,
Mhm.
I went there when the truck was there. I remember that. I don't remember the new building because my parents moved away before that, but my father was very friendly with Willett when he owned, that was all War-Tupper Oil, and I remember the old diner, the truck.
I actually have a picture here of the two structures side by side. I had it here. I left it there.
Oh, it's all right, it's just,
Okay. It's quite interesting, so.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the nomination of the Night Owl to the Fall River Register of Significant Structures.
I'll second the motion.
All right, thank you. I have a motion by Connie, second by Elizabeth, for the inclusion of the Night Owl Diner on the Fall River Register of Significant Structures. Roll call, Ashley,
Yes.
Connie,
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes,
and Jason Bouchard Naraki, yes.
Thank you
Awesome.
very
Thank you
much.
very, very
Thank
much.
you.
Seeing all of you.
This is very exciting.
Very
Yeah.
exciting project.
Yes.
And I'll send that letter to you as soon as I have that done. Excellent, thank you. All right, wonderful. Right, the next item that we have under new business, we have a presentation by Greg Melinar regarding database management. Good evening. And if you can just state your names and your address or what business or company that you're representing.
Yes, my name is Greg Molinar. My address is 555 Main Street, Somerset, Mass.
Thank you.
My name is Michael Goodwin. My address is 9 Rainbow Pond Drive, Walpole, Massachusetts.
Thank you.
And we're here today representing SQE.
SQE, thank you. And would you mind, you gave us the handouts, would you mind?
Do you all have?
Yes, we do, thank you.
Yes, I'll give a brief breakdown. Essentially, we would love to present to the Historic Commission about using SQE's quantum secure database to store records moving forward. Just sitting there listening, hearing about like forms being misplaced or not being able to be found. This technology helps to completely make that a non-issue anymore. But then also helps to secure them so that nobody else other than authorized parties have access to it. And then also preserving it for future generations or even just future individuals that may have to do work on some of these properties, so they're able to see what the last person did and all of the itemization, and it's all immutable, meaning once it gets entered in, nobody can go in and change it up and make things different or delete things. Once it's there, it's there. Where I've been speaking with Rick about this slowly over the past few months. He informed us that you guys would have your first batch of Form Bs, I believe they're called, coming in. And I shared with him that that would be a great test case and use case for us to show you how it would work, completely free of charge, so that we can start moving some of the records onto the blockchain. You guys would be able to see how that works, and then, build out and hopefully get more comprehensive from there.
I have a question, Greg. You stated there were no changes that would occur to the program, so there's no administrator to handle the program itself? There's absolutely no way of making an addition or a change to the program or to that item?
So there, you guys as the commission would be the admins.
Okay.
So you guys would have access, and only you guys would have access. So you could constantly be uploading your new forms. When I say you can't change it, meaning somebody can't, once you upload it, somebody can't go in and try to change certain aspects of it. Like once you guys put it in and it's verified that this is correct, it goes in, that's it. It's cemented there. So it cannot be changed. There can't be no sort of fraud or...
At a future date, could the administrator get in and make a change?
The administrator could get in and retrieve the file, but actually changing the data, no, and that's part of the security of the blockchain, so that people aren't able to go in and change, past historic things, or information that you guys deem is necessary.
Okay.
Okay. I did, just out of curiosity, I contacted the IT department for the city of Fall River, just because with the new website, and as I mentioned, some of the forms that we had didn't transfer just because they were, from, they still had like the old header from 2 mayors ago, and so we just had to update those things. But I did ask in terms of having some sort of a database on their website, and I guess it just depends on how detailed it is, because most other departments or commissions, they don't have anything like that so far on any of their the city pages. And I did indicate that we have, there's the project with Steep Brook, which we'll talk about later, but because we'll have those updated Form Bs, but then we have that other project coming up too with the 40C expansion, which there's a lot, there will be a lot of Form Bs on that. So I guess it just, they said that they can probably do it, but it just depends on how complex it is, I guess. But
Did you by any chance were able to check what the Form A is for the bioreserve? Did you?
I did not know.
Okay.
No. But yeah, if we were to try it out with a smaller project like Steep Brook, because I think that's only 20-ish,
22.
22
yeah.
properties, that is a good
Sure, good
introduction
base.
into
Good
it.
base, yeah.
But anything that down the line, if there's a cost, we don't have a budget or any operating funds for our commission, but so that would have to be a little bit more of a bigger conversation that we would have to have with what other various city.
And
departments.
that's a good point. Is there a cost?
No.
There's no cost
For
for the initial Form Bs of
Right.
Steep Brook.
Right.
Is there an ongoing cost for future expansion?
From my understanding with this case, this would be a free of charge
okay.
situation.
Okay.
Also, I don't know if I understood completely, but it sounded like you were talking to them about like servers.
Not
Yeah.
service, just what the capabilities of the city's website was.
Got it. Okay.
So, like,
I'll-
link to the city database. you mean?
And actually, now that I think about it, so they did tell me that they cannot, and I'm not sure if it's just a policy that they have, they cannot link to an outside website on their on the city's website. I think they have made some exceptions, like we have a link to Macris, to the database with Macris, but just because we are under the umbrella also with the city, but also with the Mass Historical Commission. So the state has their own database that includes Fall River properties. But I think aside from that, they said that they can't link to external websites or, they just said websites, so I don't know if it just, that was a blanket term, or if they're just.
Sounds like it might need a little more investigation also.
So if this is
this point.
proprietary just for us, then
Yes.
would it be considered outside?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's something we have to inquire, I guess, with IT.
And along with that, as I said, just to re-mention it, the commission would be the only powers to have access
Okay.
to it. So like even us being the blockchain, and like, we don't have access into those servers or
Okay.
that database.
Sure. I mean, if it was something that we just use within the commission, how like every department has like different software that they use and so forth, if we did have something on our own, and then I can see that being a benefit to us. But if it's something that is accessible to the public, that's a different situation, where we can't link it to
Yeah.
the city's webpage.
Yeah, because
That-
would the intent be for property owners to be able to look up their own?
That would be that was
So
going
this-
to be my question.
This is where it gets like fun and interesting, because we could sit here until midnight talking about this. But that's why like starting with that first group is good, because you'll be able to see the benefits and see like how it works. But like we were kind of whispering over there, just in that last conversation, there was like 4 use cases that this solves. Tax credit, like everything, tracking of all of it. So it's something that could be built out a lot more in depth to cover a lot more just areas of what you guys overview, like what you guys have control over. But this would be a great first kind of step to highlight what it could look like down the line.
Okay. So I will make a point of asking IT about an external database and see how that works, and what they say about that. And I can send this over to them so they have an idea.
And it could also be, we could also set it up, because I can foresee that this may be something that they want also, but we could also set it up to where if the city itself needed access to that database as well, we could do it so that it's the city and you guys.
Okay. Because one thing
Now,
that, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
Would the general public now have access visually?
That would be up to
all of
you
this?
guys.
Okay.
That would be, and that's some of the benefits. So if you guys wanted to make it completely open source where anybody can just go on and research like this historical information, that's fine. If you guys wanted to put it behind like a paywall where people have to pay a few dollars, we could set it up that way as well. That would be left to how you want to utilize the data.
Okay.
Is this essentially just like a data bank, I don't know, for instance, let's say, we just got 100 Form Bs, they're gonna get scanned in and uploaded, and they're gonna go there instead of in this box?
Exactly.
Okay. So
Exactly.
it doesn't have any functionality as far as filling out forms or?
No, we could build all of that in
Okay.
down the line. So like this could get to the point.
I guess I'm just, I don't know what
Yeah, no.
you're selling me. I don't know what this is.
So think of like we're all, well, I don't want to say we're all, but a lot of us are familiar with like the cloud,
Yes.
AWS.
Yeah.
So most of our information is held by AWS right now. That's a centralized database. This is decentralized. So nobody outside of the people that get given access have access. But the underlying, basically, bucket of data works the same. So you guys would put your data into this
Yeah.
database that only you have access to and can control. And one of the big differences not that AWS is going to go out of business, but if for some reason something happened or they got hacked, that is, your information is, based on their well taken. But at the most basic level, it's a database, but it's quantum secure and limited access to only the people that are authorized.
Okay, and-
So who do you consider like a target competitor for you guys?
There's a few mentioned here. I'm not sure. We didn't want to get too far down into the tech, but other blockchains,
Okay.
Ethereum, even Bitcoin, these blockchains are essentially databases. So any of them could, in theory, be a competitor. However, the difference here is that SQE is fundamentally being built for these kinds of issues at the government level, institutional level, not so much on like the financial side of things, more locking down records. Think like hospital health records, property records, things of that nature.
Gotcha.
Are photos also able to get imprinted on here?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Good. And if we had allowed, let's say we had this type of a program functioning, and there's a lot of 40C properties that should be getting built up on the system, say building department might want to be able to reference that. They would have quick reference
As long
as we
we
gave
would
them
set it
authorization.
exactly. Yep. Whoever would have permissions, we could set it up so that those people or departments have permissions into that database.
So you could allow one department
Right.
or the whole, or the
Right.
city,
Yep.
I
Or one
guess, as a
person.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And however best would work for what you guys are trying to achieve, it can be set up that way. essentially fully white label,
Mhm.
like fully customizable, however or whatever would need to be done.
Wow,
Is-
it's, sounds like a large umbrella. But,
I was gonna say, is there a mapping function, so all the different properties that we have records for, can we have the addresses and then be able to view a map and see where all of them are?
Yes.
Why is there no cost?
So I'll tell you why. A, because it's a great, Fall River would be the first in the state, one of, one hand in the whole country, and maybe two hands in the whole world that would start putting their records on blockchain. So for us, that's why. That's essentially why.
So it would be an advertising tool in essence for your organization.
Right, and for you guys.
Yeah.
It's a pioneering step in the sense of record keeping.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How long has SQE been doing SQE things?
So Hamid, the founder, has been a software engineer for the last like 35 years.
Mhm.
He holds 16 patents. 25,
Yeah.
one of which is this technology. So back to the question on competitors, we hold the patent to this technology. So
Gotcha.
another competitor cannot make the same type of technology. And then he's been building this for the last 2.5, 3 years.
Is this organization's operation local?
East
Local.
Greenwich, Rhode Island.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
Any other questions? So I have a few tasks that I have to do. One is to contact IT and just make sure this is, and then then regarding the Steep Brook project, that should be, we should be getting those forms in the next month or two.
I have not spoken to Elaine.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Okay, good.
So, okay, perfect. Any other questions for?
No?
I don't think so.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So once I hear back from, get my questions answered, and then we'll proceed, and I'll be in contact with you regarding what the next steps are, and
Okay.
excellent.
Perfect.
Great.
Are you all set? Have you
Yes.
given us enough
That's it.
information?
If
Good?
there's no more questions, we're all set.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you so
interesting.
much.
All right, so under old business, item 7, annual report update. I am almost finished. It is a little longer than I thought. I am almost finished. So I will, hopefully, we'll be able to review that for our April meeting. Item 8, the Fall River e-permit issue update. So actually, this goes, I have an email, I did send an email out to the mayor's office to get a meeting, at least to discuss the issue with the e-permit. Have not been able to get onto his calendar for that, but I will send Ann another email for it, because as of now, I believe the building department's still using a manual address list. So I will, hopefully we'll have an update, a better one, by April. Item 9, Bank Street Armory update. So, let's see, the ordinance, the City Council's Committee on Ordinances, will be presenting an updated resolution, at an upcoming meeting. They haven't scheduled the date yet, but that will be, it lists, basically transfers the responsibility of the Armory from the Park Board to the Historical Commission alongside the Fall River Preservation Society. And we would have the opportunity, once it's transferred under our responsibility, to create a subcommittee that focuses solely on the Armory itself. So I believe the dates that they had asked are soon-ish. I think they're in April. So that should be we'll have another update in April for that. But this will be a learning curve for I think all of us, because we've never had responsibility for property. But this is the steps that are needed, especially for obtaining any grants for studies, feasibility studies, and so forth. So, any questions on that? That does.
So the next meeting?
Hopefully I should. Oh no, I should have a more detailed update at our next meeting. But they should be. I know they're just trying to schedule the ordinance committees when that resolution will be brought up. I believe it's through. Who's sponsoring it? Was it Linda Pereira, and was it Michelle?
Councilor Pereira.
And Michelle, I believe, too.
And Michelle Dion, yes. In fact, Michelle Dion made the original
Yes.
proposal on the ordinance.
And then Linda made the change, including the Fall River Preservation Society.
Correct.
Yes. That does kind of tie into item number 10, which is the certified local government application update. So I received good news. So the application was signed, was sent over to Boston. I received an email from Jen Doherty, who is our contact with local government program with Mass Historical Commission. They gave initial approval, so that they did send over the certification agreement, which so that currently is in the hands of Corporation Counsel to review. And once that has been reviewed, it just needs the mayor's signature, and then that will get sent back to Boston for MHC's signature, and then basically formally approving it. From there, it then goes to the National Park Service for final approval, which takes, Jen said, roughly 2 to 3 weeks for final approval. So it seems like a fairly quick process. But that once we have that certification, that will open us up for additional grant funds that are not available to every community. And out of how many but over 100 communities in Massachusetts, only
32
32
something
communities
like that. Yeah, very
are
small
certified local
number.
governments.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it's great. It's
That was a quick turnaround.
very quick turnaround.
Yeah.
And if I might
job.
just chime in here, kudos to Jason. This has been ongoing, attempting to get this particular document. I've been on the Historic Commission since its inception back in '07. So it goes back a few years, and we've made attempts in the past to get this legal document established within the city, and have had no success. And Jason's been jumping on board, and with the input from the board, we've made it, so that's...
Way to go,
Yes.
Jason.
Just had to see to the
Exactly.
finish line. We're almost there. Thank you. Hopefully we'll have another update soon on that one. Item 11 regarding Steep Brook, the Form Bs. So I did contact Elaine Stiles, the professor at, she's in the, I think she's in charge of the Preservation Studies program at Roger Williams University. So they were on spring break last week. And she had to tweak some things that the students had done. So I did say that we have a meeting in April, although I will say the April meeting is already, I'm already stacking items on there, because it's, we'll be reviewing extension letters or continued letters of support for historic tax credits. Those are filed, I think the deadline's April 30th. So I did suggest, if necessary, we could also do, because it'll be a presentation from the students, we could arrange a special meeting if necessary. I think that might be the better situation, since they'll be covering how many properties?
22
22.
with sidebars of other properties that are affiliated with the 22 historic units that they're originally looking at.
So I think it would make more sense to have a special meeting for that, presentation-wise. Are there days that, especially coming up into April, that should we try to aim for just a Tuesday, stick with a Tuesday, or I can, what I'll do,
What if we throw out like a poll or something?
Hmm.
Like a Google poll, see what works for,
I don't know if I can do that without violating
Open meeting law.
open meeting laws.
oh,
Yeah.
that's.
So, if I'll get some dates from Elaine, and then we will go from there, and I'll see what
Okay.
days work. Okay. Because they should be wrapping up soon too, with like at the end of the school year, finals and so forth will be coming up. So that's that. And update on item 12, which is the Highlands Local Historic District expansion. We're still chopping away at the mailing address list. I worked on it today a little bit. So I think there's actually 3 streets left of addresses that we just need to type up, and it's like, I think Highland Avenue is the longest one, so it's Highland Avenue, Lincoln Avenue, and Walnut Street are the 3 streets left that we just need
I
to
meant
accumulate.
to chip in and I totally forgot.
It's all good.
but
I can probably
I will
jump
take
in.
Highland
I'll
Ave.
resend the link.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. I'll take
yeah.
Got what it
Highland
is we're
Ave.
doing.
It's
I'll just
very
try
easy.
it.
It's just a matter of just flipping through the PDFs.
It
so.
really is pretty.
Just
easy.
like pulling it from a PDF and typing it somewhere else?
Yeah.
So if you have 2 screens, it works
yeah.
very
That's-
easily.
that's
I do.
very good.
Um,
I mean, I
but
have Adobe on this computer
Mhm.
actually, so I
Okay.
might be able to just convert PDF to text.
I don't know if it the forms that will on PDF, it's the property tax cards that Rick was able to get from the assessor's office. So
They
So
handwritten?
it's not gonna-
It's-
no, it's just a little.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Oh,
information
yeah.
on there,
Okay.
and there's
Gotcha.
and
But
it's.
it's honestly, it's really easy.
Okay.
There are actually
Also-
many Form Bs
Oh, yeah.
in a
They're like
sense.
they're like a little miniature
Little
form these.
condensed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they,
back on
is
to-
the list ongoing? Like if I were to jump in, it's a shared list?
Mhm.
So I'm not gonna
Is it
like
like a
overwrite?
Google
Okay.
Doc?
Okay.
It's on. I think it's through OneDrive.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just. But so we can
Do
just
some
each take
mindless
turns
typing.
working on it. I honestly, that was like I think that was the easiest way of just accumulating the
Right.
address, or yeah, getting the addresses. One minor little, I did notice there's one little error. I had an address listed twice, so that instead of 150, there's 149
Okay.
properties in the target area. Minor, but so once we have those done, I will send the addresses, the letters with the surveys to Carrie. I did tell her, because it's a lot, I said I am just to get this going, I'm happy to help her lick stamps, stuff envelopes, just to get it going. But she is aware. I said, heads up, we have 150 surveys coming at you. So that is it so far with the district expansion. And then let's see. Anything else before we adjourn? I did tell, regarding the April meeting, we will have a list of applicants coming before us for continued letters of support. The meeting, I did tell them it's whatever that third Tuesday is, I think it's April
16th, I
16th. So we'll have a list of applicants coming back before us. Some of them I think will be actually on Zoom, so, but I did reach out to a few just because I didn't want any last minute surprises like we've had in the past. So I'm just waiting to hear back from a couple people so we can get them on the calendar. So with that said, it is 6:48. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
All right, Rick and Ashley, thank you. Motion by Rick and a second by Ashley to adjourn at 6:48 p.m. Again, we will be meeting April 16th, 2024. May I get a roll call? Ashley?
Yes.
Connie?
Yes.
Elizabeth?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
And Jason Bouchard Naraki, yes. Thank you, everyone.